I think in 2025, if you own a business and you're not capitalizing on what Facebook and Instagram, TikTok and YouTube and all these different channels and social media, I feel like you're missing out. I think it's one of the best tools you could possibly have in the arsenal.
You said that you're a great salesman. You can sell anything to anyone. What makes a great salesman?
I think what's really important with that is
Welcome back to New York's Business Podcast. My name is Jacob Restituto. I'm the host and owner of Restituto Media, a full-service photo and video company based on Long Island. Today, I'm joined with Anthony from Lux Stone Group. Really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you, man. Pleasure to be here. I really appreciate the invite. Like I said, I've been following you for a few weeks now since you reached out, and truly honored to be here and be a part of it today with you.
It's my pleasure. The pleasure's all mine. So I'd love to hear your backstory, who you are, what you do. Share with the people listening.
Yeah, I'm just your average guy. But yeah, my name is Anthony Marasco. I am the owner and founder of Lux Stone Group. It is a marble and granite business, natural stone business, of which we do all types of fabrication for natural stones, quartzites, different types of products. I've been in the business now about 17 years and went out on my own about 5 years ago and founded the company.
So how did you get into the business?
So got into the business. It's funny because my father's family was always in in construction. Himself, his brothers, his cousins, and then a cousin of his got into the granite and marble business. And I was always out of college. I was into finance. I was in mortgages for a little bit. And at one point, one of my cousins had asked me to, hey, you have an interest? I'm looking to expand. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And all the timing kind of worked out, and got into the business. We started dealing with guys in Italy, Spain, Brazil, and then slowly but surely transitioned into the retail aspect of things, stepping away from the wholesale. And then from there, it's kind of all been history, man, just working hard to build it up.
So tell me a little bit about the wholesale. So you would import from these countries and then ship or sell to who?
Yeah, so like right now, I'm a marble and granite fabricator. I'm considered a fabricator. People reach out to me. They come to my website, my Instagram, whatever the case may be. And when they reach out to me, they're in need of someone to actually come to their home and measure, cut, fabricate is the word we use, and install it in their home. So when I was in the wholesale aspect of the business, what I was doing was I was reaching out to guys like myself, and I was saying, hey, we aligned our relationships in Italy, and we have a beautiful Calacata gold or a beautiful Carrara marble, and we're selling it right now at this price point. And I would sell it to all the local fabricators. So that's how I really started in the business. I actually went to Flushing, Queens, which was like the hardest area to penetrate, and started doing pretty well in Flushing and parts of Brooklyn. It was always a very difficult market to penetrate. And we started out doing well over there. And then it just kept expanding. And then eventually we just saw there was more upside potential in the fabrication aspect.
I find that really interesting, especially in a world where everything is mass produced and mass fabricated and, composite wood and just cheap stuff, that there's still a market for this expensive and high-end quality marble and real material, as opposed to like this fake wood that everybody's using on everything now. I'm not saying you're building a countertop on it, but I'd love to hear more about your perspective on that.
It's actually a great point, because in our business, one of the main things that I always say is that there's guys that can cut marble, which is anybody, and then there's guys that can fabricate marble. So we're fabricators. Our business is set up where you have a gentleman who's running the machinery and handling the programs, who's essentially an owner-operator, and his name is actually Giovanni. He's essentially my partner, okay? And he runs these machines, and his knowledge of the business is unparalleled compared to other guys who are just coming into it and saying, oh, I'm gonna run a machine. It's two different animals, So if the project starts that way, and then it keeps transitioning into the next guy who has superior knowledge and the next guy who has superior craftsmanship, that's how you get that real high-end finish, that real high-end product.
Tell me a little bit about how you transition from retail, so from wholesale to retail. So, obviously you have all the connections to the people like you are now, which is the retailers working with the clients in the homes and stuff. But when you're a wholesaler, you don't necessarily have all those connections. So how do you then say, okay, I'm going to start now working in people's homes?
That's a great question. So, years ago when it all started out and I transitioned into the retail, I really didn't have the contacts. I didn't have anybody. There was a name, but that's it. So what I had to do was I had to kind of go back to like grassroots marketing in a sense, which helped me out tremendously because I was always on the cold calling aspect and mortgages. So I didn't have a problem getting on a phone, calling up somebody, introducing myself, telling them what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to bring to the table. You follow what I'm saying?
For sure.
So it wasn't hard for me to do that. It was an easy thing for me to just cold call somebody.
But who were you cold calling at that point?
So at that point, when I was in the retail aspect, getting into it, I was cold calling builders, high-end developers, high-end builders, regular, just regular contractors, tile installers, designers, architects, and it was real simple. I was just being myself, just calling people up. Hey, I'm Anthony Marasco. I'm looking to reach out to you and potentially earn a right to a portion of your business. Here's what I do. Give them the scope of what I do. Is there a way we could set up a meeting? Love to sit down and meet you. And it's kind of just from there, it just all kind of spiraled. And over years and years of speaking to people, I've been fortunate where a lot of people have built pretty strong relationships with me, and I've built them with them as well. And we have each other's back. We work together. You
mentioned the word marketing, and at that when it was grassroots marketing. But now before we started filming, you were talking about your social media and how influential it is in your business and how much you lean on it, which I find really intriguing because a lot of people in your industry, for example, the construction industry as a whole, say, well, how is social media going to benefit my business? Especially, for example, like my dad owns a construction company, and like the construction guys, a lot of them will say, oh, I'm selling a $600,000 to $700,000 home. How is that going to help me with Instagram? How's Instagram going to help me? Facebook going to help me? What is your experience or opinion on that?
I think it's one of the best tools you could possibly have in the arsenal. And I think in 2025, if you own a business and you're not capitalizing on what Facebook and Instagram and other TikTok and YouTube and all these different channels and social media, if you're not capitalizing on what they can help you bring to the table, I feel like you're missing out.
In what sense? So elaborate on that. What are you actively doing on them and what's actively working for you?
It all kind of correlates together. I mentioned earlier grassroots marketing, right? That's your typical cold calling. You're out there, you're shaking hands, you're calling people up, whatever the case may be. You're limited to a certain amount of people that you can reach in that aspect, right? Mm-hmm. Now, when you get on a platform that's social media, I have people that follow me that are from different parts of the world, different parts of the country, different builders, designers, architects. So you're able to really reach out and get in contact with a lot more people. And people can hear your story. People can see what you're about, And I really feel that if you're a builder, you're a designer, whatever the case may be, you're a fabricator like myself, you could be a landscaper, you can be a high-end planting design landscaper, putting in beautiful trees. You should be able to showcase your work and be able to show that, because nowadays everybody wants to know, what have you done lately? That's really what it boils down to. Everybody wants to see, what was the last project you did? Have you ever done a stone where it was a countertop with an integrated sink with an apron that was 12? Yeah, of course. Here, go on my Instagram. Look, there's 14 of them. Have you ever done a fireplace wall from the ceiling going down to the floor all in one piece with mitered side returns? Yeah, of course. Go on the Instagram. Go check it out. So it gives people the opportunity to see your work firsthand without having to drive to a job site, right? And it also gives me the opportunity to introduce myself and introduce my team, and people can understand who they're going to work with.
So is it fair to say that a lot of the posts and content that you're making are like introductions to you and who you are, and sharing who you are, but also sharing the work that you've done? Is there anything else that you're doing on social media as well that you find that's working?
I think seeing who we are is very important. When people are spending a substantial amount of money to put marble and granite and quartz in their home, before they even come and spend time to sit down with you, they want to see if the proof is in the pudding, I think. Hey, how's this guy carry himself? Is he a professional? Is he a fly-by-night? Does he have good work? Can I see the craftsmanship? Can I see what these guys are doing? That's all important stuff, I feel.
Absolutely.
People are interviewing me, and I'm interviewing my clients as well. People always think it's just about the client interviewing me, but at the same time, I have to interview my own clients. I have to know who I'm going to be getting into bed with too. especially if we're talking about big figures here.
Yeah, and even if you want to get to know them and get to become client relation with them, because a lot of people, there have been people in my business. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to work with you, and you end up. It ends up being a good decision not to work with some people too. Like you said, the interview process works both ways.
Some of the best jobs I've ever had were the ones I didn't take.
Exactly.
Some people might think about it, it's a little weird, but no, it's knowing when to walk away, and I credit that to my father. My father always told me years ago. I mean, this was before I went into my own business. Just when you're dealing with people, make sure you get a good read on people, and don't just give it out to everybody. Always see who you're dealing with.
I like that, man. It's the truth, man. And I also heard that there's a quote that a buddy of mine once said that every year, it's not necessarily a quote, but a practice that he had to have is every year he would fire some of his clients. So his idea and his practice is that 80% of your income comes from 20% of your clients.
Absolutely. It's the old 80-20 rule.
Exactly.
It's been around forever.
But then 80% of your headaches come from
20% of your people.
Exactly. So learning to get rid of the headache people and saying, hey, it's been, it's a hard conversation to have, but or either you actually have a conversation with them, say, hey, things have changed. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to work with you anymore. Or, you can transition out and you just don't necessarily renew the contract or something like that. Or you just be like, all right, there's a headache charge, and you just say, hey, we're adjusting our rates.
Yeah.
In order for us to continue working together, it's going to be up here. You don't have to obviously say that they're a headache, but the idea behind it, right?
Yeah, no, I can certainly understand where he's coming from when he would say that. Myself, I've never technically fired anybody I've ever worked for, in a sense. I don't know if I truly believe in that, actually. I do believe in the old 80-20 rule that he's saying. I mean, that was the whole thing that I was brought up with when I first got out of college. I was working in lead generation for mortgages, everything. It was an old adage that everybody stuck to. But I think the way that you handle the situation and the way you manage your clientele and you manage their expectations, that's what really separates certain people in business. Because if you know what somebody wants and you're delivering for them and you're making sure that what they were looking for is being put on the table for them, and you've done it and you've hit the timelines, you've done it with superior craftsmanship, you've been responsive throughout the process, clients aren't going to give you a reason to fire them. Because they're going to say, if a builder's dealing with me, if he's saying, hey, this guy, I've had multiple people say this guy's the best sub that you brought on your job site. When a builder hears that, why would they ever want to give a guy like me a hard time?
So is the majority of your clientele builders that you're reaching out to, or getting contracted through builders, and then rather than just the straight homeowner?
Yeah, we do a lot with builders and designers. I would say 85% of my business is business to business relations. So for me, I always talk about cultivating and enhancing, right? I call it, it's my own rule, but I just call it the C&E. C&E is also the craps bet. But the C&E, it's cultivate and enhance, right? So I'm always out there looking to cultivate new relationships, right? And then once I cultivate that new relationship, I'm always looking to enhance that relationship, because that's what separates the real deal players in anything. I can go out and get an account. You can go out and get an account. But if you can't keep the account, how good are you? It's like Michael Jordan used to say, right? It's easy to get to the top, but it's harder to stay at the top. Or it's hard to get to the top, but it's harder to stay at the top, right? Or something like that. He used to say something just like that. Yeah. But that's truth.
Absolutely.
I can go out and get business all day long. I can be a one-hit wonder, but that's not going to give me the brand recognition that I'm looking for. That's not going to give me the reputation that I want. I want people to know that, hey, when I'm dealing with Lux Stone, I'm dealing with a consummate professional. I'm dealing with a gentleman who's going to show up on time. He's going to do what he says. Because there's very few guys in business that actually do what they say they're going to do. So the guys who actually follow up and do it, those are the guys that get the credibility in my eyes.
Absolutely. What does your team look like? Like, just in the sense of, like, is it just you? Do you have guys working with you? What is the team of?
I'll tell you this, man. My team is fantastic, and I'm glad you asked that, because without a team, you have nothing. And that's from being a 5-year-old kid playing soccer and baseball, you hear that all the time. I'm very blessed. Like I had mentioned earlier, Giovanni, he handles everything in the shop, all the machinery, all the programming. He makes sure that, hey, I'm looking at this file. You know, we told them we can do this, but I'm seeing there's a wall here. We might have to alter it. Let's call them up. Like without having that back end support, it's not easy to be good. You know, like I can go out there and sell anything. I firmly believe I can sell anything to anybody. That's the confidence I have in myself and my abilities, right? But if I can't back it up, I got nothing, right? So having that, and then having the installers that we have, I have guys that go out there, they're carrying 1,000-pound islands up steps, and we're putting them in someone's home, and we're bringing their vision to life, and they're the most ecstatic they've been in months and years. They got their new kitchen, their dream kitchen. So having those guys go there and execute the plan. I have a fantastic measure guy. Guy goes around, he does everything digitally. We do everything in AutoCAD. I have a wonderful woman in the office with me who handles everything. She handles all of my contacts. She does all the purchasing. Her name is Shannon. She is fantastic. She's been with me for 3 years. She handles client phone calls, scheduling. She's my ace in the hole.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, you always see guys like after like a football game, they interview them. You know, they won the Super Bowl. Hey, praise the Lord. You know, thank God. You know, yeah, you thank God for having great people on your side. It's really what it's all about, man. Because without that, one man can't do it all.
Yeah.
It's not a one-man show. It takes a village.
Never is, absolutely. So what are the day-to-day operations of your life look like right now?
So you know, we have a schedule. The years move very fast, in my opinion, because of our schedule, because we're always booking out 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. We're trying to forecast our installations. So our basic day-to-day operations, the guys come in the morning, they load up the trucks, they get ready to go, they take all their installation paperwork and the material, obviously, granite countertops, marble, whatever the case may be. They load them up on the truck. The day before, we schedule everything. We give people windows of arrival, like a 9 to 12 window, a 12 to 2 window, a 2 to 4 window. We do that with measurements, we do that with installations. So my guys come in, they get everything, and then they go out for the day. I usually have appointments throughout the week, at least 3 days a week. I'm pretty solid, booked from the morning to the afternoon. That's crucial because that's what's bringing in the new blood. That's bringing in the new business.
So tell me about that. What do you, when you're going out, what are you actively doing?
When I'm going out in the field, or
Yeah,
if I'm just going to the office. I mean, because my days could be so different. There could be days where I just sit in an office and I'm on the phone constantly, and I'm going through 2020 kitchen drawings, and I'm just analyzing numbers and taking off how many slabs we're going to need to do the job, and I'm putting together the estimates, and then I would give that to Shannon. She would send that estimate out to our clientele. But then there's days where I'm in the field. You know, there's days where I'm driving to a job site, got my work boots on, and I'm walking through the mud, and we're in a house that just was framed, and I'm helping out a contractor understand, okay, hey, I want to do a floating sink. What kind of supports do I need? And then I'm in there, and I'm like, hey, let's put some 2x10 blocking on the back. Let's throw some steel over here. We're going to have about 800 pounds of weight hanging with a sink. So we need to make sure we're fortified and we're structurally sound. So there's days where I'm doing that in the field. And there's other days where I'm meeting designers and I'm going to a stone yard, you know, and I'm pulling into a local stone yard like Global Stone and Nash and UMI. All these are all great people that we have great relationships with. Stone World. I'm very blessed, you know, ABC, all these big wholesalers that I used to do back in the day. Those are all people that I work with daily. And I'll go there with a designer and we'll go through 15 slabs that day, you know, and trying to find that right stone that speaks to them.
So you said that you're a great salesman. You can sell anything to anyone. I'm curious what you think, in your perspective, what makes a great salesman?
I think what's really important with that is listening more than anything makes you a very good salesman. Because in order for you to deliver, you have to understand what the client wants you to deliver. So if I come to you and I'm like, and you're talking to me and you're telling me what you want, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to show you this stone, and you're like, but I just told the guy what I wanted. Why is he showing me this? It doesn't make any sense. Why is he trying to sell me something that I don't want? Right? So listening and understanding the client need is the absolute most important thing in my book when it comes to being a good salesman. And being genuine, just being yourself. I'm in this business a long time, and I've been around people where I listen to them sell, and I'm like, wow, man. I'm like, how could you not tell that this isn't who this person is? How can you not tell that this is just a facade right here, and they just want to take your money? You know, you have to be genuine. You just got to be you. There's no acting. There's no pretending to be somebody. I am who I am. and then understanding your needs and being able to deliver. And like I said before, there's very few people that do what they say they're going to do.
Sure.
So all of these things, like being a great salesman isn't just it's not having the gift of gab. It's not just being able to speak. It's about understanding, speaking, delivering, putting it all together. That's what separates the men from the boys.
Yeah. So every industry changes over time. Essentially, trends start and come and go, particularly in home decor and home design. I'm curious how you stay on top of what's trending and what's timeless, and how you speak to and convince the buyers essentially what they think they should go with.
So there's a lot of good magazines that come out. It's House Magazine, Architectural Digest, and then me just in the business-to-business relations, I deal with a lot of high-end designers, very respected designers, very respected builders, and they're going to trade shows and they're seeing, which kind of correlates what we said before about how important is Instagram, right? You know how many of my clients come into me and they say, hey, I found this designer in California and she did this. Can you do this? Because I've never seen this. And then I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I'm trying to understand what it is. I'm like, yeah, I think we could do this, no problem. So that alone, just the social media aspect of things keeps everybody on their feet with upcoming trends and what's going on. But just having a lot of these people that I deal with on a daily basis, these designers and builders who are very good at what they do, very good people, and they are bringing me new trends as well. So just keeping in contact, it's very important to keep up with the trends, like you're saying. Yeah, definitely.
So you mentioned a couple of times in this conversation the important, like your father and working with your father and your father's influence. Can you speak to the family influence? We were talking beforehand, that you come from a very strong Italian family. So can you talk about the influence of your family and your work ethic, and what you decided to do for work?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me that, because without that, there's nothing. So I am so blessed to have the family that I have, my own family that I've created with my wonderful wife, Kristen, 3 boys. But, going back to when my grandfather had a vision to bring our family here from Italy. He actually went from Italy to Australia. Took my father and my grandmother, they went to Australia first for a few years, and then they took a boat here and they came here. And my father talks about like going through the Panama Canal. Yeah, my grandfather woke them up. They were going through the Panama Canal. They were on a boat for like 20 some odd days. And they came here in 1969. My grandmother says my grandfather had about like $500 in his pocket, maybe something like that. But he came here not really knowing the language, and just having the mentality that you're gonna hit your goal. That you're gonna achieve what you came here to do. And for me, that pushes me. Knowing how my family came here. They came here with nothing. The odds were against them. Just like many other immigrants that came here and did it the right way, and they went through the process, the odds were always against them. So I look at that every day. Like, I don't wake up and say I'm the big dog. I look at it like the odds are always against me. Someone's waiting for me to not do the right thing. Someone's waiting for me to mess up. So you got to work hard at it, and that's been instilled in me as a little kid. I was on a landscaping truck at 10 years old. My friends were going off to summer camp. And I was on a landscaping truck with my grandfather, my father, cutting grass in all of the North Shore of Long Island. Went to camp maybe one week out of the summer for baseball camp or something. But hey, at the end of the day, the values that they have instilled in me, I'm trying to instill that in my own kids right now. Just keep pushing forward, keep working hard, and work smart. It's not always about working hard, it's about working smart too, but having a compilation between both.
So what does that mean to you? Obviously, we've all heard the adage, work smarter, not harder. So what does that mean to you specifically?
Well, you have, you can wake up every day and you can work in your business, and you can work like a mule from 7 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night if you wanted to, right? But working smarter allows you to work on your business rather than in your business. That's my take on that. Like, obviously we have to work hard every single day. You got to work in the business, but you have to find that fine line where you can step back and you can delegate the duties. Where I'm still going to work hard no matter what, even though people are I have to work hard because people who work alongside me have to see that I'm working hard. Because if you're an employee and you're looking at your boss and you're like, this guy doesn't even do anything. I'm over here pushing for this guy. Look at him. No. That's not how I work. I work just as hard as the guy next to me. The guys next to me work just as hard as I work. But you have to have that fine line where you can delegate those duties a little bit. You got to give people responsibility. So it allows me to step out and go and see, okay, what can I do today? Oh, you know what? Let's do a podcast today and let's get a little bit of brand awareness out there, a little bit of recognition. That all helps. That's working on the business. But my guys are still out installing today, right? My girl's still in the office doing what she's got to do.
I'd like to bring it back to social media for a second, where we talked about, prior to filming, we talked about the fact that you were starting a YouTube channel. You have your Instagram, you have your social media. Do you find that business comes through social media for you, or is it that once you have the business, you use it as a platform to showcase the business you've already done?
A little bit of both. Definitely a little bit of both.
Can you speak to that? Because I, as somebody that has done a lot of client work for social media, and has my own social media, and I see the business opportunity in social media, it's hard to convince somebody that necessarily hasn't seen that. So I'd love to hear your story and why your experience of why it's worked.
I think it's important to have it to showcase what you've done. Number one, like we talked about earlier, even you'd be surprised, like even some of the older clientele that I have, people that are in their late 60s and their 70s, they're doing work in these houses. They're like, hey, do you have an Instagram? And they're like, oh, my grandkids taught me how to use Instagram, but now I know. And then they're scrolling through it. They put their reading glasses on. They're using Instagram. The population is using that platform. So it's important to be able to showcase what you're doing, one. And then when you're showcasing what you're doing, and someone's sitting on their couch at 9 o'clock at night and they're just scrolling through, or they're in Google and they're like, Taj Mahal quartzite countertops, or they go in TikTok, whatever, and you can show up. That's another audience that you've just reached that you can now go out and capture. Mm-hmm. So that's adding, I like to say, cookies in the cookie jar. So once you have those cookies in the cookie jar, that's how we're pulling deals out of that cookie jar. We're making money with those cookies.
Would those deals be on the retail side, or in the sense of to the consumer, or more towards the business to business?
Both. I've had awesome people, designers, builders, reach out to me. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? I've been following you for quite some time. I've seen some great stuff you guys are doing. Awesome video on that Calicata Viola kitchen that you guys did with your buddy. People reach out. Hey, where did you get that stone? Can you help me out? Can you guide me? So I get a lot of that. And then I get just like an average homeowner, hey, my friend told me to follow you on Instagram. They said that you did their kitchen in Roslyn. They're really happy with you. Can you reach out to me tomorrow? Here's my email. Here's my phone number. And then, boom, cultivating that lead, right? Now the lead has been cultivated. Now I got to work my tail off to go and get it, because there's other guys in this business that are going to tell people anything they want to hear just to get their work. I'm not that guy, right? So I got to make sure I approach it the right way. You see who you're dealing with, and I get right in front of their face right away. Try to, make it a deal.
The last question I have here is, I want to hear the step-by-step process of, I have a kitchen, say that I want to redo. I have an idea of what I want. Say I want marble waterfall countertop, right? Mm-hmm. What is the process? I come to you and I say that the stone comes from Italy, like on a boat. Tell me the step-by-step process of where it's coming from to the day it's installed into my.
So you're a new client, looking to get this job done, basically, right? So if you're coming from a kitchen dealer that I deal with, or a designer, you would most likely be introduced to me, and you would give me your layout, which would be your kitchen layout. It would show me the sizing of your island. It'll show me all the perimeter countertops if you want to have backsplash. And I'll look at that. I'll break that down, right? And then I'll see exactly what you need for the project. Then we'll probably set up a meeting where I'll either come to the house, or you come down to our showroom in West Babylon. And
Let me ask a quick question about that. The showroom. How important do you find the showroom is in these days? Because I hear mixed stories in the industry where people say, oh, we had a showroom, but like in all reality, we just use our social media now, and the cost of the space is really not worth it, versus I've also heard it's super important. So I'm just curious on that.
It's extremely important.
In what sense?
It's a super tangible asset, in my opinion. It's something where, if you're able to see something, touch it, and feel it, and then I'm there with you, and you're hearing the knowledge that we have, and you're seeing our work firsthand in our showroom, there's nothing that can compare to
How do you decide what to showcase in the showroom?
I try to stay with some stuff that's trendy, like you were mentioning before. In like one of our areas, we have like a whole sink cutout area. So we show a couple of different sinks that we supply. And then we have a nice stone with a miter and a backsplash. It's one of those Calicata styles. It's from MSI Surfaces. It's a nice product, and people look for that. So many people come to me and say, hey, Anthony, I want I want a marble in my kitchen, but I don't want a marble because my kids are going to destroy it. So I want a quartz that looks like a marble. Do you have that? I mean, I get that all the time. So now I have that on display in our showroom. People come in, they see it, it's tangible once again. And now I'm there and I'm talking to you and you're meeting me, you're seeing my personality. It's face to face. There's nothing like it. You know, I've never been one to hide behind a TV, behind a computer screen or a phone. You know, like I want to meet you. I want you to see what you're dealing with. I want you to see what you're going to get. That's the most important thing.
So taking a step further, so now I'm in your showroom. I say, okay, I want that quartz that looks like a marble. Shipped from Italy. Like, what does the process look like?
It depends. So a lot of the quartz companies have tremendous amounts of stock in warehouses around here. Same thing with the natural stones, the granites, the marbles, the quartzites, travertines. All these wholesalers per se have their locations, and there's thousands of slabs in these locations. So I can say, hey, I have it outside in my yard right now, or I don't have it in my yard. We could take a ride around the block. It's a 4-minute ride. It's a 5-minute ride, whatever the case may be. And then I can show them the actual slabs. And then they could put their eyes on it and say, oh, wow, you know, like the picture didn't do it justice. Or, it's different from what I thought. I don't like it. So I always encourage my clients to see the material firsthand before we ever engage into an agreement. That's extremely important. So once they see that material, they like it, I put together the pricing, I figure out how much material they need, you know, how many stops we're going to go back and forth to the house, measuring, installing, whatever the case may be, and then we put together a price and try to give as competitive and fair of a price for what we bring to the table. You know, I always say it, I don't want to be the least expensive guy, and I don't want to be the most expensive guy. I want to be right in the middle all the time. And, you know, sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't, but you know, you have to just understand your worth and what you bring to the table and understand the materials you're dealing with. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's not so cut and dry, you know?
Very interesting, Anthony. I appreciate you sharing your story and sharing the insights that you've had. It's been a pleasure to have you and to hear your story. So thank you for your time.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here, man. I really enjoyed my time with you.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for watching. To all the people that watched this episode, we really appreciate you. If you are a business owner or you know any business owners that you think might be a good fit for this podcast, please feel free to reach out. And I definitely check out if you're in the home renovation business, or if you need your home renovated, definitely reach out to Anthony here. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate it.